Okay, so now we move back now to item 9, which is the approval of extension of time for heritage incentive grants. And Pauline's got a conflict for one of these. And Brendan's here to talk to these. Thank you very much. What I might do is take the reports as read, I think. Do people have any questions? Tim?
Yeah, thank you, Brendan. Just with regards to the Canterbury Street in Littleton, it seems that from reading from the airport, the report, that the issue has been internal with the owners. So I'm just wondering, are there other projects that we could fund that are more synchronised? Because this has been going on for some time, and I would have thought that the amount we had put towards this was quite generous, and I realise there's quite a cost to doing this building up, but I would have thought and expected them to be a hell of a lot more organised when they were given this kind of funding.
Yeah, tricky for me to answer for them, obviously, but they came to us initially. This is an extension to a grant, obviously it's not a new one. So they came to us initially 2 years ago, and they had very, very positive plans, and they were really keen to crack on with it. And various things have changed, and as things do, and some of the people that they brought in to be partners in that had other areas of interest that diverted them away from this. So I look at it as a what is the potential for the building? If these guys don't do the work, who else is going to come along and do this kind of work? They do own the building, and they know what they want to use it for. It's just taken them a little bit of time to get around some of those financial problems, particularly following COVID. They had a tenant in mind who then they lost, and it's keeping the thing on track. Yeah, it's taken longer than I thought, but I've been told recently that things will really crack on. They're actually very keen to get the decision today so that they can proceed and start on site soon. So although it has been delayed, I accept that. I don't see that there are competing projects with this one, because we're talking about funding from, as I say, 2 years ago now, and this is a very prominent, important building for Littleton, and I think it would be hard to find an alternative use if we don't push ahead with this one.
Anything else, Tim?
I would like them put separately if possible.
That's fine. Andrew?
Yeah.
Thanks, Brendan. In terms of the extension of time for the Littleton building, you've obviously had some contact with the building owner or representatives of the building owner over that. Are you confident that if we grant this extension of time today, they will be in a position to proceed quickly as planned, or in a timely fashion as planned, once we make that decision? It's not that we're going to make this decision and then it's just going to continue to languish?
No, I'm more confident now than I was 6 months ago, obviously when we were entering the lockdown and whatnot. They're really keen to actually crack on with it now. They've got a tenant in mind, and they've got a process in mind, and the people who were sort of dithering a little bit have come back in now, and they're more focused. Maybe that's to do with COVID. They've come back, and they're based in Christchurch now, so they can focus better on it. So I'm pretty confident that it will go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Jimmy?
I just want to know regarding to the CF Quarter Company building. Actually, to fix the facility, how long? How many months? It's only 7 months, am I right? Because your extension for the 18 months, and will be the kind of project until the 6th of March. But your construction will be initiated from August of 2021, am I right?
Yeah,
only 7 months.
That's right.
Construction time.
The owner of that building has a great track record in doing this kind of work, and he's looking to undertake this work in August next year. Now that is a little bit of a time frame, but the work to the facade, once it actually starts, will proceed pretty quickly. The facade has been retained. We're not the funding isn't for the new build behind, it's for the facade. So the work to the facade, which has already begun, the very nature of propping and retaining and stabilising the facade has actually begun. He's done a fair chunk of the work. The new build has to take over the role of holding the facade, but the works to the facade itself are relatively straightforward.
Yeah, but looks like the Bottle Lake actually is applied for and granted the kind of a building consent, am I right? So right now it has been done, building consent.
I think they've got their building consent now for the building behind. Yes, the new build behind. I'm not sure what the issue was, but there was some building consent issue, and they've resolved that now. That's not really the area that I look at, but the facade has been stabilised and supported, and is now waiting for the work to proceed on the building behind. So if you look across the road to the Victoria Black building, you can see that the outcome is extremely positive for that road. It really does look absolutely fabulous, and he'll do a similar level of workmanship on this one.
Okay, thank you.
Right, any further questions? Melanie? Excellent. Do I have a seconder? Jimmy. Melanie and Jimmy. Do we have any debate? Andrew?
Well, thank you. Just on the Littleton building, this is a prominent building right on Canterbury Street, which is one of the main streets in the Littleton town centre. It's directly opposite our own service centre at 25 Canterbury Street. It's one of the few real heritage buildings left in Littleton. The facade certainly, and Brendan probably would agree with me, is of significant interest. Certainly the built heritage values are there, but there's some significant social heritage with this building as well. At the moment it's a blot on the landscape. It would be the equivalent to Littleton of some of the buildings that we've focused on in the central city, where we've been working with building owners to get to a good outcome. Extending this grant gives us an opportunity to work with a building owner to get a good outcome here. I believe we're fortunate that somebody stepped in to do something positive with this building, which must have been a borderline case for demolition, looking at the damage. So my encouragement is to councillors to support this extension today, given that we've got a building which is worthy of the repair, an owner who is capable of doing it, and we've heard from our own staff that there's a level of confidence that we'll get to a good outcome here. So please support. Thank
you. Pauline, then Tim.
I totally support what Andrew said on the Canterbury building in Littleton, but also a heritage incentive grant is generally supporting what little we have left of our heritage citywide, and I think we need to actually indicate incredible respect for anyone who embarks upon a project of a heritage retention like this. It must be so much easier to shove a bulldozer through and start again, and you never know what you're going to encounter on the way on your journey when you're into these sorts of projects. So we see the results around town of where these buildings have been retained, and I think I'm proud of the City Council for contributing and encouraging these restoration projects. But the core of this is the willingness of the building owners to embark on what is not an easy journey. And if there's delays along the way, that's to be expected, and I don't think we should be critical of that. Staff have explained the rationale and the reasons for the delays. So I'm very supportive of the Canterbury Street one today and heritage incentive restoration grants in general. Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline. Tim?
Thank you, and I asked that they could be put separately.
Yep.
You'll see from voting records that I've been absolutely supportive of this fund and the other restoration that's been happening in Christchurch. However, this building was sold to a director of a structural engineering company in 2015, so they must have known and had some really good idea of what they were purchasing. This is over $250,000, so I would have hoped that an organiser, a group of people, or an owner was better organised when applying for this, so that there would be a bit of a smoother transition with our money. we've talked and people have mentioned about the central city and how important some buildings are, Littleton, but there are a whole lot of other suburbs where these things haven't happened and could maybe happen if we look around. And I talk about Sydenham as one, Spraydon shops. You know, these areas have gaps in them, and that may not have if there were funds available to people wanting to protect and restore. These funds have been allocated, and I would, as I said, hoped that when they are allocated, those who have fortunate enough to get substantial funds from the council are organised enough to move on these. And I don't believe this is. I'm really disappointed because it is a feature of Littleton, but we cannot just hand out substantial amounts of money at the detriment perhaps of other areas and other buildings. So I'm not going to support the Littleton project. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Anyone else? No, in that case I'll put 1A. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? No, that's carried. Thank you very much. And
Abstention.
Can I
Yeah.
have just abstention? I missed the debate. I've just come in. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. And 1B. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against?
No.
2 noes, 3 noes there. So Tim,
In an abstention.
James, Sam, and an abstention from James. Thank you very much. I declare that carried.